Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here. I wanted to shoot an update video for you. Of course, today is July 31st, which means it's the last day of the month and a very important day for Bitcoin. So the price action today, I expect it to be extremely choppy. I expect a lot of manipulation going on, and I expect a lot of people are going to get liquidated on both sides of the coin. All right, if we take a look at the monthly chart, this candle looks very bearish. It doesn't look all that different from the December and January candles of 2017 and 2018, especially if we look at it from a log point of view. So, tough to say what's going to happen there, but it doesn't look good. Now, if we take a look at our fractal, obviously fractals don't play out exactly. They just tend to be somewhat of a guidepost. And the fractal is still in play in my mind, right? We came down, we followed this thing fairly closely. We had our drop just like here. We had a pump just like here. We had a drop just like here, right? This point and this point. We've went up and pumped right here. We had a pump on the fractal as well, same time frame. And then what we saw on the fractal was this huge dump. So I do think it's very possible we're going to see a huge dump based off of the fractal. I think the fractal is very bearish. It's very easy to see that it's bearish. If we zoom in, though, there's a much different story being told. There's a very confusing story being told. This is our hourly chart. Our hourly chart actually has a symmetrical triangle, and it has a price target of up around 10,100. I think that's totally legitimate. I think it's very possible that that might happen. These red lines you see, this was actually a bearish divergence, but the very next candle, it's completely said, you know what, screw your bearish divergence. We don't care about it. We're going to keep going up anyway. All right, so we'll have to see how this 8 o'clock candle closes to really know whether or not this bearish divergence has any meaning whatsoever. So I do think it's possible that we move up. Here's what I think is happening right now, and this is just my opinion, okay? I think that the price is being pushed up to liquidate late shorts, all right? I think there's a lot of people that got bearish over the last week. I think they came in, popped open shorts, and I think the market is doing everything in its power to liquidate those shorts. I think it's entirely feasible that we go up, bust through this daily resistance. That's what this green dotted line is. I think we hit this price target of 10.1. I think it's feasible, and I think it could even go up and test the weekly resistance of 10.185. Now, what's going to happen is if this thing pumps that hard, it's going to liquidate a lot of shorts, okay? It's also going to get a lot of people to start FOMOing in and opening long positions. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Here's our 4-hour chart. We're actually inside of a rising wedge right now. A rising wedge is a bearish pattern, okay? So it's entirely possible that at some point today we pump up, we tap the top side of this wedge up around 10,000, maybe 10,100, right? Maybe 9,900, and maybe we don't quite get to the target, but up in that area, get people to FOMO and go long, and then we could see this thing completely dump. Now, if this thing dumps, the way these rising wedges work is you just measure the height of the wedge. So if we do that, we're going to be able to see this wedge is right around 600, and we'll just call it $623, okay? If it breaks south, sorry for the alarms, I've got all kinds of alerts set up on TradingView. If it breaks south, it would give us a price target down around the $9,100 to $9,300 area, okay? So that's not an obscene target. It's not an absurd target. We could see it come down and test this low. What happens from there is anybody's guess. But think about this from a big picture point of view. Take yourself out of the picture, get objective for a second, okay? What would happen? Okay, well, if this thing pumps up, bam, we liquidate all those late shorts, okay? Then we get people to FOMO in. And I say we, I'm talking about the market. The market would get people to FOMO in, right? Open longs. Oh man, we're going to the next high. We're going to the next high. Boom, they go long. And then if it turns around and slams this thing down to 92 or 9,300, guess what? All those longs just got liquidated. So when I'm trading, I always ask myself, like, what are the masses doing, and what are the few people with, the whales, so to speak? What are they going to do that would take the most money from the average person, right? And this to me is the most likely scenario. To me, it looks like this thing is going to go up, probably test that weekly resistance in order to liquidate the shorts, and then it's probably going to turn around and dump in order to liquidate all those longs. It's a nasty, very malicious thing, but it's typically how markets work. Now, where do I stand? Where's my bias at? Well, my bias is I open a short like an idiot, okay? I'm a day trader. That's what I do. I day trade and I position trade. Well, I let some people convince me that I should start swing trading, and there's nothing wrong with swing trading, but I'm not a swing trader. So instead of starting small with swing trading, I decided to go ahead and hit, try to hit a grand slam on my first try, use the same type of budgets I use for a day trade, and it's completely went against me. So I opened a short right over in this area. It actually did go down. I had a chance to close it for like a 1.3 or 1.4% gain. On a day trade, I would have closed that all day long. On a swing trade, I got greedy. I thought, nope, I think we're going to test 9,000 and I want to get, $500 per Bitcoin. Well, obviously it didn't test it. It has went up, and it's entirely likely at this point that I'm going to get stopped out of this trade. It's looking more and more likely that I will get stopped out. If I get stopped out, it's going to cost me about 1% of my portfolio, which is going to be extremely painful. I should have just closed it when I realized that, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm stubborn. It did come down. It gave me 3 different chances, 1, 2, 3 chances to get out of this thing for basically break even. And I was like, no, it's going to 9,000. It's going to 9,000. And it just has completely went against me. So right now I'm down about 3% on that short. And, let that be a lesson to you. Don't play outside of your wheelhouse. If you're going to start going in new directions, play with a smaller budget, because, right now I'd like to just close the thing, but I don't want to take a 3% loss, then have this turn around and drop. So I'm going to let it play out, right? We'll let it play out and see what happens. I've got a target on it, and either my target will get hit on the stop or my target on the profit will get hit, and I'll lick my wounds and learn from my mistake. But my bias is actually short, right? So I want this thing to go down, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going up to 10,185. I think it's going to go up here and test this weekly resistance and liquidate people like me. So that's where my bias is. But overall, the important thing to remember is today is the last day of the month, so we're going to have a lot of this volatility. It could absolutely be all over the place. So I will not be trading today. I will be taking the day off, other than just watching this swing trade that I have open. I don't want to leave it unattended at this point with the market looking the way it looks. But other than that, I won't be trading today. Volatility is a trader's best friend sometimes. Other times, when you're expecting mass manipulation like I expect today, not so much. One thing to keep in mind is I was watching this triangle. I did videos about a triangle over the last couple of days or weeks. I think the triangle is, I just don't know if it's valid anymore. I really don't. The shorter triangle looked like this, and it was coming down like over in this area. You can see we're completely above it. So if, the way triangles work is when they break out, they're supposed to break out, their height. So if this breaks out its height, it's about a $2,000 triangle. So it would put us up around 11.1. Right up in this area if it breaks out. And that actually does make sense. That target's not absurd. That target's not absurd. Right here, this candle closed at 11,112. So it could absolutely go up here and test that. And then, again, that would liquidate a lot of shorts. And then it could go down, right? We could see that happen. My bigger triangle, it's up for debate. It could still be valid, right? See, this could have been a false break. And, we've came up and touched it over here. So the bigger triangle is still, not absurd. We could absolutely see this thing play out like this. Okay. And that would be great. I would like to see that happen. That would give us a price target of down around like $4,000. Again, if we measure the triangle from the bottom to the top of this. Okay. Don't want that. I want the price target. If we measure this from bottom to top, and I'm just going to do this real quick, right around 4,600. And if we had a $4,600 target over here, right, be down around 4,600-ish. Okay, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't think my line's drawn straight. 42 to 4,300 is what I got last time I did it when I wasn't in a rush. So hopefully that's what is at play. But I think today is just going to be a crazy day, and I just don't think it's a safe day for me personally to trade. Maybe you're better than me and you can trade it. I wish you well if you decide to. I'll be sitting out, watching the swing trade, hopefully closing it for a win. But if not, if this thing pumps up, I'm going to get liquidated and lose about 5% on the trade. Fortunately for me, the trade was only about 25% of my fund. So a 5% loss will be just over 1% of my total fund. But that will be the worst single day loss trading that I've ever had. I've never lost 1% in a single day before. Don't play outside of your wheelhouse. And if you're going to play outside of your wheelhouse, start small until you're used to it, because day trading, I've never lost even 0.25% in a single day before. Just a different game that I'm not used to. With all that being said, please remember I am some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. I'm not a professional financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. If you liked the video, be sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, be sure and check the description. There will be links to follow me on TradingView, Twitter, and join my Facebook group. All right, this is James. Have a wonderful day. Trade safe.